A minute.
Yeah. We're live.
Guys.
Yes.
Greetings.
Good evening.
Good evening, guys. Thanks for joining us on this Friday night again, mate. We appreciate all your support and stuff like that. We're just waiting for Ross. He did join us, but he had 3 heads. Something went wrong with his GoPro, so that's why he's not here yet. But I'm sure he's addressing it and trying to sort it out. So, but first, I think what we first things we always like to do, as you all know, is talk about like how our tank's been up and what's been going on with them, whether the ups and the downs, whether we bought anything for the tanks or anything like that. So I'll pass you on to Jay first. Jay,
am I up first, mate? Well, am I up first?
So anything interesting, Jay? Anything interesting?
Always interesting, mate. The bar's open. I hope everybody's got the beers ready. Always interesting. So,
we're on the
Strongbow there.
Yes, today.
Yeah, so mate, it's been a busy week. Obviously, you probably saw from a video the chalice has turned up, the rainbow chalice, which is a bit of a gamble really because my tank's only 6 months old. So it is a gamble. I'll be in bits if it's stripped or if it lost colour. But at the moment, in fact, let me get me little lenses.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously been in there a week now at the moment. There you go, my Orfec lenses.
Right.
Love these. And to be honest, I think actually, I don't know, you know when you're kind of worried that you're imagining something, that you want something to happen so you think it's happening. But I think it's already starting to play out a little bit.
Yeah.
So hopefully, in a couple of weeks, I can frag it, get my money back. That's the hope. That is the hope.
Maybe a little bit optimistic, Jay, but you never know.
Well, if I run the alkalinity high, you never know.
Well
right, let me just give you a shot because I haven't actually taken any pictures of it yet or anything. But this has been my week. Just watching.
Big Ross has joined us.
Hi, Ross.
Greetings.
Hello.
I don't know if you can see it there.
Oh yes, stunning.
Is it there?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's looking all right, isn't it?
Beautiful. Yeah.
So,
you know what? They just. I mean, for the cost of them, Jay. Yeah, they just look like something you get out of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, innit? Like one of those everlasting gobstoppers. It looks like one of them, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
Mate, it looks like my little boy's dropped a sweet in the tank. It doesn't actually look real. It doesn't look like a real coral, like you say, because of the colours. But that's taken up a lot of the week, really, just watching that and seeing how that settles in. What else has been happening? Oh, have I told you I tried to get the NEM out of the tank?
Oh, you did say something.
Yeah, so
the question is, did you get it out of the tank? That's the question.
I went to Future Frags, and he was like, you know what? As soon as you're buying this sort of coral, you don't need to, you best get the NEM out because every NEM that he's known at some point will sting your corals or will end up in the power head. It's just like a ticking time bomb. So he says, get it out as soon as you can. So I went home, all pumped up, ready to take out the NEM. The NEM had different ideas, mate. It was not. So I got it. But its foot's right up in the cavern, obviously fastened on. And even though the power head was on it, it was not shifting. So I was defeated by the 100-gram NEM, as it were. It's still there in the top of the cave. So
did you see Colette's marine tank? What she put?
I saw it.
I was waiting for the dad to get the JCB out and all that.
I need to scare it, don't I, with some power tools or something.
So she took the rock out, didn't she? Then in her garden, she tipped it upside down. Yeah, and I'm not too sure if she then actually cut it off or whether through the rock or whether they just fell off. I'm not too sure the last bit.
Yeah, she said they dropped off. They just dropped off in a bucket.
I think she just kind of peeled it off with her nail, didn't she?
Well, yeah. And then you just tell him. I mean, when I've had mine down, and then it was in me 170. and then I had them in the 350, and they just multiplied. Mine was fortunate. Mine didn't go in a cave, so I could get the power head right behind it, and I turned the power head like 100%, on it, and it blasted it so much that it just basically released itself, and it floated around the tank, and then I just picked it up. But I think, like you said, Jay, when it's actually got its foot right in the cave, you're not going to get it.
It's deep into the cavern on the roof.
Yeah.
I just can't get access to it. And obviously, if I take my rock out, that's the only rock I've got in there. It's just one piece.
Yeah.
Everything else is attached to it. So I've got. I don't know. I think I've got to wait until it starts going on a little walkabout again, and then grab it out then. But to be honest, whilst it's sat there, it's not doing any harm. So we're just gonna.
No. That's the main.
Left it. And I've got a secret soft spot for it. To be fair, I will be sad to see it go, but it does need to go at some point. It needs to go because it's just a risk. Yeah, it is a risk.
Yeah.
What else has been happening? I started dosing as well, a bit of iodine, which is like,
oh yeah,
wow.
Yeah. Don't do it. It's one of those elements that iodine that it's so imperative to make sure you get you should always underdose it, because overdosing it'll just wipe your tank out. It will completely wipe out. You know what I mean?
So I also watched. Many people probably have watched Reef Dork's video today, and it said about not dosing trace colours and stuff like that. If you're a beginner, it's like, oh no, that's me. That's basically me. But yeah, so obviously my ICP test showed that I had zero trace of iodine in my tank. So what I've done is I've started to dose 0.5 ml every fortnight.
Yeah.
So 0.5 ml every fortnight, which is way under the dose, and it's probably still way too low, but at least I'm putting something in. At least there is a trace of it in there. That's my strategy. I'm going well under. I'm just trying to put a bit in there. Have I noticed any difference? Absolutely not. I can't see any difference at the moment. So if it carries on, I'll probably not even bother putting it in. But I don't know if anybody else in the chat uses any of the trace colours Red Sea.
So I have for a number of years. I haven't done recently, but the good thing about Red Sea, if you dose the alkalinity, calcium, and magnesium and use those colours, I can't remember the calculation, but you base how much you dose per day on how much calcium you are dosing into the tank. And I must have used it for a good 3 years or so, and then I ran out and I haven't bothered since. But I've actually bought some more, so I probably will start dosing again, because I don't think the tank's as colourful, the one behind me, as it really should be, as it used to be. So whether it makes a difference, we'll see. But I'm going to start, and I manually dose to 4 on a daily basis as I feed the tank. Then I dose it. So I like the way that Red Sea have done it. I suppose you could overdose. You could have a problem. But if you base it on your calcium dosing, it seems to be pretty good. So I did that from day one. As soon as calcium started ticking over, I did that, and I found it was pretty good. And I do like the Red Sea stuff on the alkalinity and the foundation products. I think they're pretty good. And then Nathan Willard was talking in his video about he switched back to Red Sea from, I can't remember what he was dosing before, and over a 6-week period he said that he's seen his colours come back on the SPS and he's seeing some growth. So whether it's down to some other stuff, because also he's dropping his nutrients as well, so it could be a coincidence, or it could be down to that as well.
I was going to say that. So for every 10 ml of calcium, it's 1 ml of the trace colour. But yeah, when I watched Nathan Willard's, like you say, Paul, when I watched his video, because I've got the utmost respect for that guy. He's got a great channel, and it's really informative. And when you go, you say about these people that you can trust. He's one person that you can kind of trust, I think, for advice. It was music to my ears to hear that he likes the Red Sea products for dosing, because that's what I started with, and obviously I like them. And it's just nice to know that people actually go back to that kind of program of dosing. It's good.
I think Red Sea is one of those where it's a bit like Marmite. It's because they're so popular. and you see negative posts about them, which you will because of the sheer volume. No-pox, as we've talked before, gets a bit of a bad rap from some people because I don't think they use it properly because there is a specific way of following the instructions and don't overdose, that kind of stuff. Red Sea seems to be a bit Marmite, and also some people think it's a little bit overpriced. I think compared to some products, it probably is, but I trust it, so I don't mind paying that money for Red Sea because I've been using that stuff since I set up this tank. So, 6 years this year, I'm touch wood, it's done really well, and so I have no plans of changing away from Red Sea. But the other two tanks, I may go a different route. I'll come onto that in a minute.
Yeah. Well, going on to the Red Sea no-pox there, Paul. Did you ever? I dosed that in my 170, and I used to get like a red slime, like a red slime coating on the skimmer, and it was and it driven me absolutely insane. And I was dosing like maybe 2 mil a day, at the time. I
did for probably about the first year I did, but then I was dosing quite big because I had probably the first 2 years because I had tangs. So I had a Regal and Vampire, and they're really messy. Those who've got tangs will know. So I was dosing 13, 14 mil per day, and it was like lumpy, bit snotty in the sump is the best way of describing it. And then when I got rid of the tangs and I reduced the dosage, I haven't had anything like that for probably, the tangs moved on probably about 3 years ago. And so I haven't got that at all. So I think it's one of those where I don't know why. Maybe it's because it was a fairly new tank and it took time to mature, and it was the bioload was quite heavy because of that. And I had a lot of other fish as well. I don't know. Then it disappeared as soon as I reduced the dosage. So I don't think I was overdosing because the nutrients were at a decent level and it wasn't too low. So I didn't have cyano very often and I didn't have dinos or anything like that. So I had a decent level of about 5 to 10 nitrates, and then phosphate was a range of 0.003 up to 45 kind of thing. So that was pretty much all right. But that worked pretty well for me at the time. I'm still using it today.
I was going to ask what triggered you to use no-pox. What numbers kind of made you think, I need to start using it?
The only reason I got it, because I've said before, I went up from Essex to Derby to collect this tank, and there was a shed load of Red Sea products that I got with it. So I got no-pox and I got the Foundation ABC and all the colours. So the reason why I started on Red Sea is because it all came. I must have had a couple of bottles of each. It all came when I got the tank. So I just thought, I'd done some research on it, and I started dosing, I think it was 1 milliliter from day one. So 450 litre tank, 1 milliliter. The tanks were quite small, but I must have had about 15, 16 fish to begin with. And I just decided to use it, but underuse it, like 1 milliliter. And as the nutrients went up, I was testing religiously every week. And as the nutrients went up, I increased the dosage. Because I got the Apex doses, I was automatically dosing from day one, and I was increasing it by kind of 0.5 a milliliter. So I was gradually going up with the dosage as the bioload was increasing. So I suppose in that respect, there was no way of overdosing because I was letting the numbers drive how much I increased it by. So you see some people where they're dumping 8, 9, 10 milliliters because it says on the instructions, and then they have a bacterial bloom or they have a load of crap, and it doesn't work. And sometimes it takes a while to kick in as well. Sometimes it take 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks for it to actually work, depending on your tank and what your nutrients. And you do need a level of nutrients in there, nitrate and phosphate. You need to have a fairly decent balance. So if you have low nutrients, no-pox is less likely to work. I don't know the science behind it, only from what I've read.
Are you? I don't take this the wrong way, Paul. Are you worried to come off of it then, in case? Obviously, you've been on it indefinitely so far. Why?
I've done it as a permanent. I've done it as a permanent.
In case it goes green.
No, I've just done it as permanent. It's a permanent source. As far as I'm concerned, I've got a skimmer. I've got no-pox, and that's it. I've added some bioballs over the years, and then 3 or 4 weeks ago, my phosphate was a little bit too high, so I just put the Riophos in there to bring it down. That's now out of it. So I use it as a permanent fixture within that. So I know some people use it; they switch it on and off. I just decided it worked for me. So why change?
Yeah.
So I use 6 milliliters, which is not a lot when I've got 20. So yeah, I saw Scott's comment. So yeah, it's not the main thing now, I think, because I've got the max spec bio balls in now. I don't do any water change. The last time I did a water change, and so it's like 6 milliliters with 26 fish. They're quite small fish, other than the yellow tang. So do I think I could come off of it? I probably could reduce it and come off of it, but I don't feel the need, because it's not costing me that much. It's only 6 mil out of a 1,000 ml bottle, but I think it's one of those. Scott hates it, and I like it.
Yeah, this is a thing from Scott there saying he hates it. NO3 is sticky plaster, increased molybdenum, and increased bioload and let the bacteria deal with. I mean, you know what, people, when I first started out, people used to say this to me. They used to say, go in the no pox route and go in this is the cheating's way, is the cheater's way. You know what I mean? That's what they used to say. Do it the natural way. Why put solutions in? Run a refugium. Do it this way. Buy this, buy that. So people give different opinions. But I run a refugium, and my nitrates were at about 15 in my 170, and then my PO4 was around. It was about 0.08 or something, so it was fairly high. But did that ball of Cheeto that I put in my refugium grow? Did it? It never grew. You know what I mean? Nothing happened. I left it in for about 3, 4, 5 weeks. Nothing
Did you have a light in there, Steve? Did you have a light on it? Yeah. A refugium light. Oh no.
See, just on that.
I had the normal bulb. What you get? No.
How did it not grow with nutrients in the tank? I don't get out of that drink.
You know what? It just never worked for me, mate. What works for me is not going to work. It's just the same thing.
Yeah.
But the moment I started dosing the no-pox, within 2 weeks, my nitrates were down to 2 to 5, and my PO4 was like at 0.01. You know what I mean? And it was like crazy. Just totally took it out.
So the other tanks, one of the tanks, I have got a refugium working, but it's really struggling to grow, and I think that's because I've said before, because I've got the clarity on it. And then the third tank, I've just got max spec bio balls in there, and because it's got a light bio load, it's only got 4 fish. It doesn't create anything, so I don't need anything else on top of that. So I'm not going to use it on the other 2 tanks. I want to do something different. So I've got 3 tanks with 3 different setups, and they all seem to work well in terms of nutrients anyway.
Evening, Neil.
That's it, mate. It's what works for your tank, and I do believe, though, going on to what Jay just said before, you're a bit like apprehensive about coming off the no-pox and stuff like that. I believe that once your tank gets onto it, it's like a drug to your tank. And I think your tank gets used to it. Do you know what I mean? Your tank
say that about carbon, don't they? They say that about carbon.
It is a carbon dose. It's a carbon dose. You're talking about it's carbon dosing.
But when your tank gets used to something, then it's very hard then, to wean it off it. You know what I mean? It's like a drug addict to it. You know what I mean?
Well,
that's what it is.
I think the issue is if you just stop it dead, then your tank's going to react because you're just taking something away. If you reduce, I think I could reduce that from 6 and take it down to 0, but then I have to replace it with something. If I don't replace it with something, which is Scott's point, on that you replace it with more other bioload. And of course, if you put bioballs in there, for example, the expert ones, you've then got to leave that for 5, 6, 7 weeks because they have to seed and then they have to start working. So again, people throw those in and they don't work straight away. Well, they don't, because they do take a while to start working. So I think if you just stop it dead, then it's going to cause problems. Like anything, it's like if you just, if you had max spec bioballs and you take 2 kilograms out and you don't replace it with anything, and your bioload's the same, that's probably going to have an effect on your tank. Your nutrients will go up, and then you start getting algae on that.
Ross, you've done something with your balls, Ross.
Yeah, you said, Ross,
No, we had a conversation about bioballs, didn't we, last week? And then you've responded to that, haven't you?
So that was actually what I was going to say. So I looked at mines, and obviously through not knowing, I just got the max spec bio balls. I got the kilo box, and I thought, well, surely I can't do any harm. So I threw the whole kilo box in my tank, which is only 50 litres, and I had the whole kilo box. But because I'd done it from the start, I didn't really notice any difference as such. But after last week's conversation, I thought, no, I'm not going to risk this. So I reckon I've probably took about half the box out so far, and like Paul says, I didn't want to take all of them out almost, so I'm going to gradually take more out as time goes on and just watch the levels. It seems to be okay just now, to be fair, but again, I didn't want to get to a stage where everything crashes because there's just no nutrients in there. So if I can, if I can get to a level that's okay, then I'll stick with that. But I think it was you that said, Steve, I think I probably only need actually 5 balls in the tank, whereas I've got probably, I don't know, I reckon there's about 15 in there still.
Well, going on to that, Ross, I was just about to say then, like we're talking about can you put too much bio balls in a system? Yeah. That's what we talked about last week, yeah. And I was thinking about you, that it just came in my head, and I thought, yeah, you did. And I have the same. I've got a 50-litre nano tank here, yeah, and I have 5 balls in my tank. 5. That's all I have. What I took from the main display, which were already seeded, I took it out and I changed that water bi-weekly in the tank, in the nano tank. And the nitrates, I can't even get them up. I can't even. No matter. I feed it 2 little tiny fish and a little blenny, yeah. 2 little nanos, 2 little clownfish and a blenny. I feed it a whole cube of mysis, and the nitrates won't go up at all, no matter what I do. Do you know what I mean? And that's just 5 balls that's in the sun, in the chamber. It's crazy, mate. They just hold so much. The
thing is, I never knew until last week that you could put too many bio balls in. I just didn't think you could. I thought
neither did I.
Beneficial. The more you added, the more bacteria can survive on it, and therefore the better the bio load.
That's the logic. I thought the same, mate. To be truthful,
I've got loads in mine still. That's what I'm worried now. Yeah, I've got about 20 in the bottom.
And yours is what, 75 litres? 75 is it?
75 litres, but my nitrates have never gone above 2.
Yeah,
which is probably because
that's why. So, but if you test on a weekly basis, you'll start seeing it go down, and you can just take one out at a time, and then it will naturally come back up.
Yeah,
no, he's not got enough time to test his nitrates every week with that thing.
Oh, the nitrate is not getting tested every week. It's not.
No, I forgot about the fact it takes 17 minutes to do that.
I'd love to be able to do it every week, but it's once a month.
Yeah.
The Hannah nitrate checker, yeah, it's a nightmare. But that was interesting. That was one of the main things that I learned from. Is it Bob? Dom? Bob?
Yeah.
Dom.
That was literally what I'd done the following day. Was went straight to the tank and took out those bio balls, because even once we left the stream last week, I was lying in bed thinking about it, going, "Oh no, I've put far too much in here." Like you said, I just didn't realise you could, overstock it with the bio balls. Yeah. So. Yeah, I think that was quite a valuable lesson last week for me anyway, was to get them out. So
yeah. And Steve, there's some decent comments in there regarding the MaxSpecs bio balls, in terms of, I think quite a few people use them, they're quite popular, but also someone in there as well about maybe putting too many in, causing problems and having to pull them out as well.
Yeah. You see, I think it's good.
2 kilograms in a 170 there. Wow.
I think you could put. I think it's good to put more bio balls in a system where you're not running like a skimmer and you're not running any other filtration. Yeah, because then I can't see there being an issue, because really you're not having a skimmer taking out any of the stuff. So in my eyes,
I don't.
It's better. But I think if you,
I don't run a skimmer in mine, but I think the fact that I do, it's only a 50-litre tank, but I do a 10-litre water change every week, so. I don't personally. I don't think I've got a need for a skimmer. So,
no.
Is it bad to have the bio balls in, like you say, Steve? I don't know, but I took them out anyway.
It's certainly not bad to have them in, mate. Certainly not bad to have them in, but maybe it is to have like a kilo of them in. You know what I mean? That might be like a bit over the top, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Does it not come with a skimmer? The water box. The water box doesn't come with a skimmer.
No.
I assume the larger ones do, though.
No, they don't come. They don't come with anything. I think you've got, the only thing they come with literally is like the sump and that. You don't get any equipment with them. You've got to buy that. Sorry, I lie. You get the return pump, and you get like a sponge filter and crappy media and that. But that's really it, mate.
Ricardo's put this over time. He says you think your rock and sand can house all the good, which absolutely correct. Yeah, but it says so there's no need for the bio balls. That is very true, but the whole idea of having bio balls in your system is so you don't need to basically run tons of rock in it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, when I was putting my rock in, I should have put in something like another 3 kilo of rock in my display according to what it says. You know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't. I just shoved a load of bio balls in the sun and let it seed and do it that way. Do you know what I mean? So Ricardo's exactly correct. It does, all the bacteria does seed your rock. You know what I mean, in your sand. But if you to add the bio balls, it's just better if you don't want tons of rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people just want minimalistic scapes. They don't want tons of rock. You know what I mean? Like it's just fell down off a cliff. They wanted to just look nice and bring. You know what I mean? They wanted to look stable, don't they?
Yeah,
nice,
you do, yeah.
So the only way you
Well, that was kind of what I had done with mine. I tried to keep my rock scape kind of really minimal. I didn't, it's a small tank as it is. I didn't want to just have a big pile of rock in it. So
that's it. Yeah. Some tanks, like you said, you just see it and you think it's just been like plastered. It's just like a load of rubble just fell down. Do you know what I mean? But nowadays they want it all like mixed skates and like artistically. You know what I mean?
I think the only downside to that is there enough hiding places for fish? Yeah. Because I do think you need, even if you have a scape that's quite small, if you've got loads of little caves and little places where the fish can go so they don't get stressed out. Because I do think fish need that, or at night where they can just go into the caves or against the rocks. I think that's quite a big deal for fish. I think personally, in terms of having those hiding places to go to. So it's that balance, isn't it? Because the less rock you have, and you have not overstock, but a lot of fish, it's where do they go? And also it stops conflict as well. Because if you've got someone picking something else, they can go and hide somewhere as opposed to out in the open. So I think it's a balance. But certainly those bio balls help where you've got less rock than the old fashioned method of having X kilograms per litre of water or whatever it was. I can't even remember what that is, but I don't think many people apply that nowadays.
Is it max spec that's kind of got a bit of a monopoly on it? So most people, I mean, everybody I speak to, it's max spec that seems to be the one that everybody's going for. Is that have all you three got max spec? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. I refrained from using because there was quite a few that come out previously where they had a reputation of leaching, or there was even some that were disintegrating in the sump. So I stayed away from them for that reason, because there wasn't one that I could trust. And then once this one, the max spec one, came out, you thought, well, actually, you're not seeing posts about no negative posts, so therefore I decided to get some.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I remember that, Paul. There was people could actually crush the balls with their hands.
They just crumble, don't they? I mean,
they were crumbling, but I think it was just a bad batch. With it, they were disintegrated. You could crush it with your fingers. You know what I mean? And then they were leaching. It was like metals, wasn't it? They said they were leaching metals, wasn't it? Was it aluminium or tin or something like that?
Not sure. There was some that were disintegrating. Some were leaching. Some metals in it. And there wasn't one that had a good rep. And so this one comes out, and that's why I think so many people have got them. Marine blocks as well. I think Backshift Reefer use. So different people, different things. But it does seem to be max specs. When you speak to people, they seem to be using it.
Yeah,
there's a comment for you.
No, can't do that. Surely, Adam Boyle is supposed to be my friend. What's he doing this to me for?
It's great advice.
Get it done by the end of the live. I don't think I'll be able to manage that, to be honest. How long's left? There's only an hour and a half left.
So, Steve, there's a comment from Cranium Reef saying they use 1 kilogram max spec bio balls in the water box 20. I'd be interested to see how long that's been going for. That's a bit more than mine's, but I don't know.
I see it. 1 kilo of max spec bio balls in. Wow. It'd be interesting to know whether she's running a super low nutrient system in that. You know what I mean? That would be for sure. What's
the nitrates? That's supposed to nitrates.
That's what I mean. Nitrates and phosphates, and whether she does do any dosing. Whether going back onto whether she doses a tank. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Maybe. DC. Quick question. DC Reefers, but quick question. Had a great day. Or the TMC Reef Habitat 90. Any tips for moving my stock from a nano to a new tank? do I need to cycle or gradually move over, or can I transfer? Well, I've done it. Paul, you've obviously done it. Jay and Ross, I don't think I haven't done it, obviously.
No, never.
So if I personally, if I didn't have to, if you have to rip that tank down to put the other one there, then you haven't got much of a choice. I personally would probably cycle the tank, get the fish over, and it depends on what kind of corals you got as well. Because if you've got things like Zoas and some easy LPS, you can move those over fairly quickly, and they're less likely to strip or to die off because they're more hardier on that. I would still take my time, but then I'm one of those that makes very few changes, and I make the changes really, really slow. So if you can run the two tanks together, personally, I would do that. I'd also take some of the media from the other tank and transfer it over, so it's easier, and you're less likely then to have a cycle. So potentially you could run it and not have a cycle with you in doing that respect. So take some rock over, maybe some bio-balls or whatever you've got, put some fish over at the same time. What might trigger the cycle is if you're using new sand, because sometimes that can trigger a cycle. But if you're transferring some stuff over, so personally, if I don't have to, I wouldn't transfer everything over in one go. But that's just my opinion. I'm quite low risk in that area. But others may just say, just crack on and do it. So it really depends on how much of a risk you want to take, and do you need to? Can you run two tanks for a short period of time?
Yeah. For me, it was totally the opposite to what Paul said. Obviously, Paul's patient and he can do it that way. For me, it was like I had to move it over. So for my 170, the 350 was going in the same spot as the 170. You know what I mean? So I had to move it. You know what I mean? It all had to be done in one day. But what I did was obviously going from a 170 to a 350. It's doubling the water volume. When I knew that I was getting was upgrading, I put more bio balls in the sump so it could seed. So I knew that when I transitioned into the 350, there should be enough bacteria, you know, in the tank. Yeah. But going on to Paul made a good point there. The one thing I never did was the sand that was in the 170. I took literally two cupfuls of that sand, and put it into the new tank, and then I used all new sand for it. Because it can, like Paul said, it can instigate another cycle in your tank when you do it that way. You know, no matter how much media you've got in it, it could kick it off. So for me, it was like, it can kick it a new cycle off. So for me, just take a little bit of your sand, your existing sand that's in your display, just a couple of cupfuls, stick it in with new sand. You always use new sand. And then basically save as much of the water out your main tank as you've got, and obviously your rock and stuff, and then fill it up, and then just put a bottle of bacteria in it. That's what I did, and touch wood, everything went okay. So that was what I did. You know what I mean? But like I said, Paul's different to me. I did it the quick way. Paul would do it the more probably the more professional way. You know what I mean? But
I wouldn't say professional. I'm just more cautious, but both ways work. It's just a case in your situation at the time, really, isn't it? I think DC Reefing said he's in no rush, so I think DC Reefing, personally, I just take your time. But obviously, you're cool.
He's got a really nice tank. I've actually seen his upgrade. It looks something like I'm looking at when I upgrade. I think he's only had his nano. I think DC Reefing's only had his nano for about 7 months, if that's right. And then he's jumped up into that big tank. So, he's got a really nice tank. Can't wait to watch it grow out and see what he does with it. I think he's wanting some tangs. He's after some tangs in it, I think.
Yeah.
And that's the tangs have forced his arm. Yeah.
So I see that Cogger was asking where the whiskey is. So I've got shelves and shelves of whiskey, but I just don't know which one to have tonight. So I've got a wee Bud Light there now, and we'll crack the whiskey in a wee bit.
Go with the 18-year-old. Or 20-year-old. Get the proper stuff out.
Go top shelf, do you think?
What's the oldest?
Top shelf's the older ones.
Practical Reefer there, Paul. He's just, is just echoing the what you said about the scape. You know, lots of caves, arches, overhangs, and it is a valid point. You know, a lot of us do go for the more minimalistic scape. But like I said, if you've got some aggressive fish in your tank, and the other fish are, you know, more of a community fish. They want somewhere to hide. You know what I mean? Like I said, so yeah. I suppose it's whatever you want to choose with your skate, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's entirely down to the person. You know,
I think it's helped me with the Springer damsels because they've got their own little place in the tank, and that's around a piece of rock, and they go and hide as well. And there's no aggression across them at all, either with one another or with any of the other fish. So that's just what I wouldn't do it again. I wouldn't pile loads of rock in like I did then. It was just something I had to do at the time and through inexperience. But I think it's worked for the fish that I've got.
Yeah. Adam Boyle, when you get your sticker, make sure you send me one. I just saw Adam Boyle's name on the thing. He's got some stickers going, I think, so I'll have one of his stickers. I haven't got Adam Boyle's sticker. Have you got any stickers yet, Paul?
I have. So
have you?
I got my first sticker because after Dom was on last week, I thought I'd order some stuff for him. So I ordered, and I got a few of those as well, some sweets. But I've got my last one because the family nicked them all. So, but yeah, I was chuffed. That's my first sticker. At some point, I'll get some stickers myself. I know. I really don't want to go on that slippery slope of having to buy 50, 100 stickers and everything that goes with it. And end up with the merch that Steve has got with mugs and Christ knows what else.
It's the postage, mate. The stickers itself isn't so bad, but postage of them is the hard bit.
I'm actually getting a hoodie made, mate. A hoodie. How about that?
Nice.
You know, Moxie Aquarium hoodie.
I'm going to wear it on the live streams, mate. I'm just going to wear it on the live streams. I'm not going to wear it out, mate. I'll be ruining my reputation, so I can't do that. You know what I mean? I've got to wear it in here.
What does that one say that you say? What does that say? Is that some uff diver? What's it say?
And you're a teacher.
What's it? I keep reading something else. What's it say?
We've not crossed that threshold yet. It's only 8:30, 20
Yeah, it's not 9 o'clock yet.
Sorry, watershed.
Yeah.
It's a family show, Jay.
I know, yeah, sorry.
Just going on to Lucid Reefer, yeah. I just want to give him a massive shout out anyway, yeah. He hit me up on the Instagram, asking about my mushroom, and I was like, you know, explaining, I said, yeah, it's great, you know. And I was talking about my other mushrooms and that they were like peeling off. Some of them were coming off and stuff. So what he did was he said to me he'd actually print me off a mushroom basket, a really quality mushroom. And this is it. Look at this.
Oh, nice.
With my own. With my own.
Oh my God, that's ace. That's ace.
Cool,
and I'll tell you what, Kat, the quality of it is exceptional, mate. It's exceptional. You know what? And I didn't even expect it. I said to him, hit me up when it's done. And obviously we'll sort something out. Postman at the door knocked on and it was there, mate. So massive shout out to Lucid Reef. Yeah, I absolutely appreciate it, mate. You didn't have to do that. But yeah, absolutely respect it, mate. So thanks very much for that.
You've probably seen how many frags you've bought in the last week.
Need a bigger one of those, though, don't
like, I need to get this out
3 times.
I need to get this quick to him.
I need to get another 170.
I want to thank him as well. I want to thank him as well because he's nominated a couple of places for people to visit on the map. So
how's the map going?
Yeah, well, I actually need to have a look to see how many I've got. I think it's over 40 nominations at the moment.
Nice.
Should I give you a bit of a flavour of which is coming out top? Do you want to know which is got a bit of a flavour to see what's coming out popular?
Yeah,
do you want to explain what it is? Do you want to explain what it is first, Jay? What is it you're doing?
So basically, obviously, we're getting out of lockdown soon, and the summer's coming round. And I just when I'm out and about going on holiday, I want to know where's best in that particular area. So obviously, I don't live there, so I was just asking people on Instagram, you know, for your local area, if you can go to 1 or 2 places, where would you go? Is it suitable for families or is it just for hobbyists, that sort of thing? And then try and just share that with everyone so that we can all go and visit the kind of little gems of reefing around the UK, whether it be a fish shop, coral shop, or like an aquarium attraction for families, and just tap into everybody's knowledge locally. nominate a couple of places that you really like, and then other people can just enjoy it and experience it as well. So yeah, Lucid Reefer, he's put a couple of nominations on, which I appreciate. I mean, it'd be really nice if we can get as many people in the different areas to recommend their local LFS if that's what they like. What's that? Can you? Hey, I can't. My Nem's got the better of me. I can't sort him out. I went in there to sort him out, and he had different ideas. He put me in my place. But yeah, once I've managed to move him, I'll put him in a box. Yeah.
So who's come out top then? So it's
all right.
a great initiative.
Give me a minute, because I need to get onto my spreadsheet, and I'm not very good with computers. So I'll have a little look what's ticking over at the moment.
Hey, that's a good point.
So if you haven't nominated,
Lucid said, Jay, he could print out some 3D. He could print you some 3D scissors out if you want.
Right, I need some anything.
So, Jay, what's the long-term plan for the thing then? Are you going to do a map and publish it so everybody can see it, or what are you planning on doing?
Yeah, so I'm going to get the map, going to get it published. I'm going to color code it, so if it's a family attraction or if it's just really for the die-hard hobbyists like the people on this call, as it were. And then just share with everyone, so in the summer we can all go around and just visit these different places. So yeah. I go to Cornwall quite a lot. I'm hoping to go to Scotland in the summer. You know, when I'm up there, yes, you've convinced me, Ross. I want to go up there.
Yes, you'll love it.
Yeah, and I want to just, when I'm there with my family, if I've got like a spare couple of hours, I might nip off and just go and visit the LFS and see what's there, see what's happening. So that was the idea. But yeah, I'm going to share it with everyone. And hopefully update it every year with whatever people are recommending. So rather than it be, you know, it's from the reefers who have experienced the place, who are putting the places forward, which I think
it's
be
a great idea, mate.
Yeah, it should be good.
Mm-hmm.
Google. I'm just going to get onto it.
So Ross, quickly going on to you, mate. Anything gone? Good or bad with your tank this week, or anything happened with your fish or anything like that?
Not this week, mate. No, this is probably the first week we've had nothing with the clowns. They seem to be okay this week, so touch wood, they're doing fine. Yeah, so I think things for me. So after last week, obviously removed the bio balls. We spoke about that, so there's no point in going over that again. I was in the tail end of the ugly stage, so I was still having quite a lot of algae in the tank. So when I was over at Nessie's Lair, which is my LFS brilliant shop, that's where I got that Recordia from. The one that I put the pictures up in the video up, the really colourful one. So I got that from there, but I also got a conch after Jay had recommended them for the sand. So I got the conch and put that in, and that has made short work of the sand. I mean, it's pretty much spotless now. But the rockwork was still covered in a lot of the algae. So I had the crabs in it, and I didn't really want to up the crabs. I just thought I would keep what I've got. So I actually went and got some Vibrant, and I dosed 1 mil of Vibrant, which, you know, for spending whatever it is, £38 or something on a bottle to dose 1 mil. But I done it, and the rockwork, it looks fantastic now, to be fair. It looks really, really good. There's still a bit of algae there. I mean, I'm happy enough actually with the algae that's there. It's not really an issue, to be honest. But the Vibrant, whether it's a coincidence that it was tailing off and I've put that 1 mil of Vibrant in, but it really does seem to have worked. So quite impressed with that, to be fair. But
does that Vibrant? What does that Vibrant do? Is it like I don't know how can I put it? Is it like I suppose, is it like a no pox sort of thing? You know, like does it burn the algae away or what? Because I've never really looked into that Vibrant, to be truthful, so I don't even know. You know what I mean?
Well,
actually, it does.
I think it does to a degree melt some of it away, but a lot what I have found is see my actual filter floss. I mean, after 2 days, the filter floss is absolutely bogging. So I'm assuming that it's basically detaching the algae from the rocks and it's floating up and into the filter floss. And, you know, I'm changing that a bit more often than what I usually would. But whatever it's doing, I mean, even the clarity of the water, now again, could be coincidence, but the clarity of the water seems to be a lot clearer. You know, the rockwork looks a lot better, the sand's a lot better. And it does, it looks really good actually for that. And like I say, I only put 1 mil in, and I don't even know if I'm going to put any more in, but it looks really good. So that was kind of the big thing that I was kind of impressed with that. And I would recommend it. It's just the fact that, you know, it's a big bottle and you're £38, I think it was, for the bottle for me to dose 1 ml. But it's what it is.
This is a good call from Super Yellow Tank. Get an urchin. I know about urchins. I've got one in, and they go to town. They go to town on.
So I think
no doubt, mate.
I would like to get an urchin, but the problem that I've got is because the tank's so small, the rockwork's small. You know, I've got the zoas everything in. I just don't know if I've got the room for the urchin to be marching around the tank.
You can get small ones, mate. You can get
really
tiny ones. Yeah.
I didn't know that, mate.
You don't just get big ones like there's a couple in my LFS actually. Just tiny little urchins, mate. Same as mine, but obviously mine's like the size of a tennis ball now. You know what I mean? It does my head in fun, but it does a job. His role is to go around eating any excess algae. He just goes around the glass and around the back. But yeah, they are really good. The urchins, definitely get one of them.
Right, I'll have a look at that then and maybe see if I can get some. Well, get the LFS to order one in if they can get them small enough. So yeah, that could be a good shout. I didn't even think of that. I had just kind of written them off as, you know, folks say, oh, you get an urchin and it's going to move all your frags around the tank and it'll destroy things. And I've seen Jay's terrorways in them, so I thought I don't want an urchin that's going to do that, and you know, I carry on. But yeah, that was that. So that was kind of one of the things. The other thing, Steve, that you're aware of was me cursing you for this.
What's that?
My teeth are still rattling in my head, mate, after listening to this bang away all day.
Hey,
this bit here should not say silent.
I hold no responsibility for it. I don't work for him. I just said listen, it's silent yet. I apologise, mate.
Long story short, for anybody that doesn't know, the standard pump on the water box had kind of got a bit noisy, so I thought, right, we'll upgrade that. We'll get the CJ Synchro Silent, which isn't silent in my tank, but anyway, I went for the 1.0, which fits in the water box perfectly. I think there's some people struggled to get it in, but some fit it in fine, so it fits in mine, no problem. But the issue that I'm having is when you switch it on, I'm not joking you. I mean, it's out now. I have to go back out again. But the banging, clattering, rattling, I have never, ever, ever heard a noise as loud as this in my life. I mean, you could hear it in rooms throughout the house. You could hear it downstairs. It was actually rattling that hard. You could hear it down through the floor downstairs in the house. And I thought, nah, it's something not right. So I spoke to Dom from Kraken, because I bought it at Kraken. And he says to me, could you take the return tubing off and try it again? So took the return tubing off, switched it on, absolutely silent, completely silent, not even a noise from it. And that was with it in the chamber. So, you know, put the tubing back on again, same thing, rattling. So I took it out, sat it in the bucket of water, tried it again, it's the same thing. So the second you put the tubing on it, it must be a restriction. Now, I did turn the flow down, I think it was 75% or so, tried that, exact same thing, no difference. So I kind of writ it off at that point. But then Dom from Kraken got back in touch with me to say that was the fifth one that had been returned to him for exactly the same reason. The 0.5 and the 1.5 don't do it, but the 1.0 does it. So I don't know if it's just it could be something to do with the frequency of that pump on that diameter tubing with the water box. I'm not entirely sure, but it was struggling. So I lasted one night with the earplugs in and thought, no, we're not going to do this anymore. So it's back out. I'm going to send it back to Dom.
Yeah. You know what I thought? Honest to God, I thought it was the actual, the actual output on your water box. You know, the actual output into the aquarium.
The nozzle.
The nozzle.
Yeah, the nozzle. It must have something to do with that. You know, the rattle. It must do, because if you, I put it in my tank or on the normal green line. You know, the normal green tubing. Yeah. And I stuck it on there, and it goes into my UV sterilizer. And I swear, honest to God, I didn't even think I had it switched on. It was like I can't hear it. So trust me.
So there you go.
If it was loud, my missus would get it out and hit it with a hammer, because she can't handle any loud things, you know. So
well, there's Backshift Reefers just posted up saying, I regret the CJ pump sounds like a drill. So he's got exactly the same problem as me as well. So like you say, Steve, I don't think it's an issue with the pump, because that's what I said to Dom when he said send it back. I says, well, I can send it back, but there isn't an issue with the pump. You know, the pump, when you put it in a bucket or when you take the nozzle off, it runs fine. So unless there is some underlying thing that is, when you get a restriction in it, it struggles. I don't know. But, you know, sit it in the bucket and it's fine. So
I suppose if you want to keep it, Russ, you could keep it and just have it as a
mixing your salt.
You're mixing your salt. You know,
mixing your salt water up.
It's just
or a spare. Because sometimes pumps just go, and then if you're, if you're in the middle of nowhere, or it's in the middle of the weekend and your shop's shut, then you can just replace it. And you have to put up the noise. It's worth having some spares. I have a spare return pump just in case. And that just keep it for that.
At the end of the day, you're right there, Paul, because nothing worse is if your pump goes out on a Saturday evening and your shop's shut and you on the Sunday and you can't get anywhere. And you've got no return, mate. You know what I mean? It's I'm sure you can handle the noise for one night. You know what I mean? That'll be
because you could do the light going or the heater probably not. So you probably need a spare heater. A power head can go, and you're probably okay if you got more than one power head. But if the return pump goes and you're dosing and stuff like that, it's a real pain. And your heater's in the sump, and then you got to move it into display. So it's that is an investment, or it's just sitting there burning. You spent the money, it just sits there. But I think it's quite a good redundancy.
Yeah. I mean, like I said to Dom, it's not something that, I'm not blaming anybody for it. I think it's just an issue where, you're unfortunate that with the 1.0 and the diameter of the return nozzle, it's just maybe something that just doesn't work. So I don't think it's a massive deal. It wasn't an overly expensive pump. So like you say, I'm happy to keep it as a spare, but it is what it is. But I enjoyed winding up Steve about it anyway.
Adam's asking.
I reckon he's sponsored by him, mate. He's done you there. He's done you.
So, it's doing really well, Adam, actually. It looks really, really good. Now, again, this is one of these ones that I had never seen before. If you've seen my video, you'll see that I got from mail order corals. I was supposed to get a rainbow trolls or anthid, I think it was, and it arrived and it was nothing like the picture. So when I spoke to them, long story short, they said, right, we'll replace it, pick another coral. So I looked through the website and seen what was called I think it was a metallic fillet tonga, I think was the proper name for it. Never seen it before, so I thought, right, we'll go with that. And I'm not joking you, it looks really, really, really good. Like the polyps on it are quite long, a lot of movement from it. The colours are really good. For a mushroom anyway, I think it looks really nice.
It's really nice, mate. Definitely, it's really nice.
Yeah. And it actually feeds really well as well. So see, when I've been feeding the mysis shrimp, it seems to grab one of the bits of the mysis shrimp and then do the whole thing where it turns itself inside out, the mouth comes out, swallows it all, and then goes back again, and it looks really, really cool. Like, so yeah, I'm happy with that one.
I've seen the pictures when you send the pictures out. It looks awesome, mate. The colours are incredible, and I actually think I don't. How do mushrooms vary so much in price? Because even the cheap ones look really good, but then for some reason, some of the ones that they're getting like price tags of 200 plus, aren't they? But
well, that's the thing. I mean, I think that one there looks really good, and I think on the website it's £24. So for £24, I mean that's nothing, and it looks really, really good. But yeah, like you say, some of the mushrooms are just extortionate, and it brings us kind of on to the point we were talking about last week with prices and so on. I just don't understand how some of them have such high prices.
Yeah, it's just driven by rethink. My missus, her favourite coral in the tank is the Recordia mushroom, and it was about 25 quid. So she knows nothing about the corals, as it were, with all due respect. And she just likes the look of the corals, and she thinks the best one is not the one that I just bought last week, the chalice. She prefers the Recordia mushroom. So it's obviously us as hobbyists driving up the demand for certain, and then it obviously the Instagram effect, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
Yeah, of course it is, mate. It's like you said, and let's be honest, with what Lightroom can do in stuff like you take a photo. So you've said it yourself, like you, Jay. You see it on a website, and then you buy it, and you're like, what in the hell is that? This is not what I bought. You know what I mean? But and this is how people sell it. It's just advertising, and it's just the way they do it. You know what I mean? The way they do it, unfortunately, but it is what it is, mate. That's like that. You know what I mean? It's like that all the time, isn't it? So, I'm just looking down a few of these
Waterbox 20, our cranium's got the same, cranium reed's got the same type of Euros. Oh no, yours is 15.
No, mine's just a 15, mate, yeah.
E-Heim Compact, the one that was the original one that I had on my UV sterilizer. I took it off and I asked Dom can have that. Dom, sorry, can get them, I believe, or he did have it, or he could get them, but there wasn't any in stock. But that's what I originally ran on it, and then I seen the seat chain, and I thought, you know what, we'll try that.
Yeah, I do like E-Heim pumps. I've had a couple of them, and I've got one on the 170 actually. I keep meaning to get a different pump, but it's been on there for 4 years, a E-Heim, and they're just they're workhorse. Hasn't got the same kind of settings and everything that something like an Ecotech has, but it does what it needs to do, and I think they're quality pumps.
Yeah,
are they German?
German?
Yeah.
German, yeah.
You can't go wrong with German, can you?
Not
No,
usually you can't. Yeah, you're right.
Talking about the quality from mail orders seems excellent. Has any of you guys had mail orders? Have you had it? You had it, didn't you, Ross? Did you have it?
That's where quite a lot.
That's what he was talking about.
Almost all of my corals are from mail order corals. Now, what I will say is the corals are actually really good, really nice, but his photos look heavily kind of edited from what you actually get. So, I mean, the colours are slightly saturated, you know, they're like, I can't remember, I think it was Signature Frag said about taking pictures under different lighting, asked for daylight pictures. So, you know,
I've just seen that.
Yeah, I think a lot of these pictures have been edited, but the quality of the coral that you get is still really, really good. The colours are still really nice, you know, it is still the same, other than that one that I got that was wrong, but I mean, he was happy to replace that, so that's not really the end. I mean, as soon as I sent my photo of it, he said, yeah, that's the wrong coral you've got. So the quality of it is really good. And I mean, the amount of polyps that you get on them as well is brilliant. So yeah, I can't complain about mail order corals, to be fair.
Yeah.
That's a good point there by Signature Frags about getting daylight pictures as well. So you kind of see both under blue and daylight, gives you a better perspective.
Yeah.
Signature Frags is also, they've just said they take them under 10K and 22K spectrums. Yeah, big difference, you know, between them two, and it gives you a real idea what to expect. You know what? Not a lot of many people and companies do that. You know what I mean? They don't. They, like you said, Josh, they all oversaturate it, brighten it up. Yeah, lower the darks. You know, that's what they're doing. It just makes the coral stand out. And then when you put them in your tank, you're disappointed. But I think it can go against. It can also go against companies, I believe, though, because if you do that and you don't expect, and you get somebody that looks nothing like it, you're not going to shop there again, or you're going to say, you know what, I'll look elsewhere. Maybe I'll try somewhere else. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
It could be pros and it could be cons, I suppose. But but good call. Definitely a good thing with Signature Frags there, though. That's for sure.
To be fair, they're only doing what we do with our tanks. You know, when we put pictures on Instagram or when we have YouTube videos, we're not showing it with the bright lights and the algae, are we, and all the crap. We're showing it. We're trying to show it at its best. So I understand why they try and make the corals do look good. Obviously, it's a business, isn't it? But like you said, ask for. I didn't know you could ask for the picture with the lights on, but that's the winner, isn't it? That one.
I think if you buy and then you can order, and if they say no, it kind of, probably gives the game away. So I've seen people ask and say, especially if they're on Ultimate Reef and other sites where you can sell corals, people ask for, can you show us a picture of that, or when you DM someone or something. So I don't think it's unreasonable to ask for it under whites.
Yes.
No, it is,
yeah. So this question here, I saw this early this week. The new Red Sea Reef. So it's very similar to the water box, which we was talking about. I think it was last week or the week before, which is a bigger tank stand. It comes with its own control board. It's got a separate under the sump. You've got a small sump, so you can have a frag tank, or you can disconnect it and have it as an RO. It looks really nice. I think they're 6 foot and maybe 7 foot as well. They haven't released the price yet, but it looks like a copy of the water box tank. So it's going up a step, and it's, as I said, there, it's got a Euro brace on it. I think they look really nice.
Is it a peninsula tank, Paul, or is it a normal?
No, it's not. It's similar to a Red Sea Reefer, but souped up a little bit. You've got an aluminium frame, which is not their first tank, because their other, I think there's another series of tanks they've had for years and years before the Red Sea Reef that had an aluminium or a metal frame on it. So now they're similar to a reefer, but just bigger. and better quality, I would say.
Yeah,
it does look really good.
What's the water volume in them if they're 7 foot? Because they do the 900 XL, don't they? That's the largest.
I thought one was 1,000 litres, and I don't know if the other one was smaller or 1,200. I can't remember, but it was a step up in terms of compared to what they got at the moment. But I suppose if you get bigger, then you need the Euro brace. You need potentially a different stank. It's 19 mil glass on one of them. The bigger one, it didn't say that I saw. They go 850 litres and 1,000 litres on that.
Might be my next upgrade. That.
The only thing though, they've got the rim back on. You know, the top of the rim, the old tank side.
It's a Euro brace.
It's got that back on. I don't know if I quite like the glass. You know, it's just the glass.
The reason for that is just to give it more strength. And you see, if you go custom, you can have thinner glass if you have a Euro brace, and if you have it braceless, then you'd have a thicker glass on it. So quite often it can reduce the price. I used to hate it, but if you want to go big, then I think a Euro brace, and also potentially helps fish jumping as well. But then if you have a lid, it's not a problem, is it?
Is Red Sea's favourite fan, Paul? How's it going, Paul?
I like Red Sea's good. They've got some good products.
It's each to their own, isn't it? We've had this conversation before.
Yeah,
it
comes up every week.
Yeah, well, you know, at the end of the day, I've had nothing go wrong with both my Red Seas. Paul's had the Red Sea. You know, just unfortunate things do blow out. But if you think of like how many Red Seas are sold worldwide, we're not talking just in one place. Yeah, we're talking worldwide. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or you might get say 2-3% of them damp breaking, you know, blowing out or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is what it is, isn't it? You know what I mean? It is what it is.
And like we said earlier, the dosing program and the foundations and things are really good. A lot of people have a lot of success with them in terms of coral growth and things like that.
Absolutely. I mean, talking of Red Sea, I from Dom, I ordered that test kit. So I've had that before. So that's alkalinity, magnesium, and calcium. It's kind of in one box, and I've been using that for years. I find it really, really good in terms of. I think it helps in terms of understanding what's happening in the tank, and I find some of those are really good. I mean, I don't use Red Sea for phosphate. I use the Elos, but that was it. Yeah. And then the other thing I bought from Dom as well was that. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
I've seen that advertised actually.
Yeah, so I use that because I've got a mandarin in the tank over there, and I've got a pipefish in the other tank, and I was just fed up culturing my own. So I get these, put them in the fridge, and just dose them every day, and it's really helped. I think keep the mandarin going. That and the fact they're on frozen as well.
Yeah.
Right.
How much water do you need for a pipefish? Because they're really cool there. And the little dragonfish,
that's the mandarin. So the pipefish, I'm not too sure. I mean, I got it in the 170, and I mean they're only small, so I think I'd look into it, Joe. But I'm not saying any reason why you couldn't have one in your tank. I mean, they do eat copepods, but mine eat frozen as well. So I think anything like a pipefish or a mandarin, make sure you see them in the shop eating frozen, and that way. You've got a better chance because they do better in an established tank that's got kind of critters.
I take it you have to target feed them, Paul, do you?
I don't target feed the pipefish because it's only with 3 other fish. But in the tank there, I do. So I feed the other end because I've got wrasse, damsels, tangs, and they're quite aggressive feeders. So I find out where the mandarin is. Hopefully he's down one end of the tank. I feed the other end of the tank, and then I put the frozen or these in the other end, and he gets a good feed. But and then the mandarins and pipefish are really slow eaters as well, so they'll get out fought for food, and by the time they've eaten what they need, the food's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Ricardo's
the thing that I had actually seen the other week there, I was watching a video, and it was a guy feeding a mandarin by putting it was like a glass jar he put inside the tank with the food in it, and the mandarin were swimming into the jar to feed, and I thought it was quite a good idea. But
that is good. That is to make sure he gets enough food.
I've had my mandarin now.
The seahorse family, aren't they? The pipefish are part of the seahorse family, aren't they? So they're just.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. And you have to feed them heavy, don't you? Because, like you say, because they're slow eaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the pipefish gets 2 feeds a day, gets the copepods, and then it gets mysis as well. And that seems to do the trick. I've only had that for a couple of months, so I have to see how long term. But the mandarin I've had for 3 years, which I think is pretty good going. I don't know if anyone's got have got a mandarin and how long they've had the mandarin, but they do seem to die quite quickly. But I think that's because they get ones that are not fat and then not on frozen. So just to sustain them on copepods, I think it's quite difficult.
I've got a mandarin. I've had my mandarin for 2 years. Female. She did have 2 eyes. This is another question which she did have 2 eyes when I bought her. Yeah, and it was probably maybe about 8 or 9 months ago, and I looked, and her left eye is gone. It is no longer there. Her left eye is no longer there. So I was like, how the hell has this happened? And when I read up on it, they can get an infection, in the eye, and the eye basically just disappears. It goes, you know what I mean? And I was like, what? It just vanished. But I didn't see any sign, or she could have been attacked. But it's just basically covered over. I was completely covered over. She swims around. She's fat. She's plump. And I just dose. Literally, I maybe 5 packs of copepods a month in my tank. That's all I do. I don't dose any. That's all I put in my tank. And she seems happy. But remember, they populate, don't they, copepods? So they populate in your rock, your sand, stuff like that. So if you had enough at the beginning, then they should be enough to sustain it. You know what I mean?
The issue I've got was it 4 wrasse, and I've also got the damsels, and they all eat copepods. They're all picking at the rocks all day long. So whereas before I put all those in, the tank was alive with critters and that. There's hardly anything in it at the moment. Yeah. So I could put some more live into the sump, and they'll hopefully culture out from there. But I just find it works just manually dosing them, I suppose, or feeding them daily with the mysis. But mandarins are lovely fish. They really are. Just the way they hover, don't they? And they're just buzz around. Fantastic.
Yeah. Ricardo's put this. Any thoughts on regarding coral prices from private sellers? We spoke about this. I think it was a few weeks ago. We spoke about this. Jay especially because he bought a couple off eBay and stuff like that. Now, obviously, he says, do you find that many are selling for the same price as an LFS? Well, we went over it, didn't we, guys? And
so the answer is yes. Yeah, especially if you look at things like torches. We were talking about gold torches amongst other things, and I had seen it was more expensive to buy a gold torch online than it was from LFS. So I think the private sellers, the prices are creeping up more towards LFS. I think it also depends on the rarity of it. If you're talking about Setosa or a purple stylo or some of the cheaper utter chaos zoas, I think you can still get those cheaper than an LFS, but the more higher end stuff, I think they're on par, if not more expensive. That's just from what I've seen.
I agree. I agree, mate. Yeah.
But they shouldn't be though, should they? Because you don't get that security of the dead on arrival and stuff like that. If you've just got a private seller selling you a coral, it'll be right, thanks for the money, off you go.
Yeah. And also the cost. Do you think the rent? Yeah, I mean, Dom was talking about his electricity bill was 1,200 quid a month. He told us last week. And if you think about rent and rates are not cheap, your liability, all that kind of stuff, you would have thought. And private seller, it's your tank, so you're not incurring any costs. And if you're a shed seller, you've got 1 tank, maybe 2. So I don't think there's any comparison, personally. Well, it shouldn't be.
Yeah. Neil said he.
Happy birthday, Neil! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Neil! Yeah, happy birthday.
That was a brilliant video. That was absolutely brilliant video.
Yeah. He said he put a gold favia online, and it was shocking. Yeah, you know what? It's just unfortunate, isn't it? It's like Jay said, he bought some Zoas, didn't you? You bought Zoas, didn't you, Jay?
Yeah, my worst corals in my tank are the eBay ones that I bought. And I'll never do it again. I'll never say to other people, don't do it, because you probably can get some good corals on there. But I just got stung, and I've just learnt from there. I won't do that again.
Yeah.
They were just heavily photoshopped and stuff like that.
Yeah. Paul's put down he'd pay private sellers more. You know, they're usually better quality. Well, yeah, maybe. At least I do believe, you know, like with like the higher end SPS, say for instance, yeah. If you're getting a private seller, you know that they're looking. So they shouldn't have flatworms. They shouldn't have sort of, you know, these sort of bugs that eat away at it, yeah, because they might have a predominantly SPS reef tank, you know what I mean, yeah. So you know if they're getting a frag for them, it should be relatively okay, you know what I mean. But whereas if you get a quality SPS from an LFS, yeah, they just stick it in a huge frag tank, you know what I mean. They don't monitor it. They don't, you know, there could be any sort of things in there, you know what I mean. So for me, I do agree with that sense, you know, in one sense, you know what I mean. But cheaper little frags, like Paul said, like little stylos, they're all the same prices. They're the same whether you go, you know. I mean, I know my local LFS sells Stylopora 2 3-inch frags for like £10. You know what I mean? £10. So it's neither here nor there £10, is it? You know what I mean? So it's what most people. But like you said, the higher end stuff, they're all the same prices. They're exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of Prestige Reef. You can see his tank and his corals and his fragging. And I mean, I know it's not possible for everyone to do that, but you can see them before you kind of buy them and the process and stuff. Yeah, which is helpful if you're spending a bit of money. WYSIWYG, yeah. I didn't do WYSIWYG. I didn't do WYSIWYG at first. That was the problem.
Yeah. I mean, that's always good. It's like you said, if you see them, what you see is what you get. You know what I mean? That's probably the best thing, you know, online, is if you can actually see them. So I'm just looking further down here.
I think also depends LFS if you trust. I mean, I use AAC out in Harlow in Essex, and you know, I think it's about a third of all the corals they sell come from their own coral farm. They're meticulous in how they look after them and stuff like that. I mean, I still snip off the frag plugs, but that's more out of habit than anything else. But Paul and the guys are superb. So I would rather buy from him than from a private seller that I don't know. But that's just my personal.
Speaking of LFSs, do you want to know who's coming top in the map at the moment?
Great segue. Well,
I've managed to get it up. So here we go.
There we go.
There's two that's standing out here. The first one is West Coast Aquatics. Never heard of them. So West Coast Aquatics. So I don't know if anybody's been there in the chat.
Where is that, Jay?
It might be in Ayrshire. Wait a minute. Is it in Ayrshire? West Coast Aquatics. Ayrshire, yeah.
That's up by me then.
Yes, that's next door to your house, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about an hour away, mate.
Scotland's only small. There's only about 2 roads, isn't there?
Aye, there's just the one in and one out, mate. That's it.
One in, one out. Yeah, and the other one is, and this one's come massively top, Kettering Aquatics.
Kettering
Aquatics. And it's got like over treble the amount of votes that anything else has got.
Really?
So
I've heard of it.
Yeah, let me know what you think of it. It's obviously done really well. Yeah, Kettering Aquatics.
Obvious Fish Keepers just said he's won a second-hand Red Sea Max 130D for 11 quid. Well, that's the bargain of the week. That's the bargain of the week. That is the bargain of the week. Maybe we can do a segment like that, the bargain of the week. A bargain of the week every Friday, yeah? See who gets the bargain of the week. Now,
it can't be free, though. It can't be free, otherwise that's...
No, it can't be free. No, but bargain of the week, you definitely win it on that, mate. £11. Absolutely.
For a tank?
For a tank, yeah. So,
wow.
Can't beat that one.
That's
absolutely.
Brilliant.
That is an absolute bargain.
Jake.
Yes, mate.
MB Reefing said, how is your D&D dose? Or is it easy to set up and reliable, and possibly looking at starting to dose this? So you just started to dose, haven't you? So
I started to dose about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
I went with a D&D 4 channel because I knew that I was going to definitely use 3 of them, which was alkalinity, calcium, magnesium. And I thought I'll just have 1 spare in case I need to use some no-pox or or whatever else. Anyway, just have it as a spare. It's not cheap. I think it's about £240, which I don't know. I don't know if that is cheap for a doser, but I'm new to the hobby, so it felt like quite a lot of money. £250.
It's a 4-channel though, Jay, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a 4-channel. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I'm from Yorkshire. Tightwad. I'm a tightwad. So setting it up was a pain. I'm going to be honest. It was a pain to set up because you have to change your router to 2.7 gigahertz to actually connect it to the router.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but you have to go into your router settings, which I think you have to dial it down from 4, is it, or 5 down to 2.7. Then you link it, and then you can go back to the default to back setting. Once it's set up, it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Calibrate, it's really easy. To do the plans, it's really easy. And my tank for sure would not be where it is today without dosing, because it's just kept it stable.
Yeah.
More stable than it would have been. So I love it. The only issue was the initial setup, but I think Steve's had a couple of problems. I think this might be a refit issue. Setting stuff up is a bit of a pain, but once you've got it kind of programmed in, they work like a dream generally.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. And you know what, that leads me on to exactly like what with my with the KH keeper. I was in my local LFS and I was speaking to a guy who's actually got a KH keeper now. I'm not going to go too much into it because I am going to do a 1 month, exactly a 1 month video on it, the pros and the cons, what I believe in my opinion. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's going to be more in depth. But what I can say is though, is like the instructions are shocking. Yeah, absolutely shocking. They need to improve that. You don't get any instructions with it. You actually have to download it, and it's 37 pages of it. You know what I mean? Of setting it up. And it's just insane, you know. And then it repeats itself, so it's very hard. It's hard to understand, you know what I mean. But going on to it, you on the intake, you get an actual filter on it. Yeah. Now I was speaking to the guy, and the guy was saying, "Oh, you know, you do that filter. What you've got, is it underwater?" And I'm like, "No, it's not underwater. No, it's on the top." And he's like, "I said, why should it be underwater?" He says, "Is there any air bubbles in it?" So I'm like, I've not really looked. I basically flushed it through, and I was just running it. Yeah, so I was like, I've not really looked because I didn't see that in the instructions. You know what I mean? I didn't see that. Anyway, I checked it, and there was air actually in the actual filter cup, so it wasn't taking the right amount of water. I don't believe. You know, even though you calibrated it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, I stripped it down. He said, "And have you got any length of cable? You know, extra?" So I had a bit of a loop, you know, in it. So he said, "Cut it." Basically, it's just so there's enough so it's going into your sump. Yeah, cut it and you'll see it, and basically make sure that the actual flow, that the actual the filter is level, it's horizontal like that. Yeah, that way no air can get into it. So I said, right. So I came home, I set it all up, I did it, I recalibrated it. So I was reading 10.4 on average on my tank, which I thought was right. Yeah, but when I tested it with my HANA alkalinity checker, it was coming in at 9.3, 9.4. So it was coming in like 1 DKH below it, which I couldn't understand. You know what I mean? So I thought, right, well, I'll do a few tests. So I did a few tests every hour on the hour for 5 hours. Yeah, to see. And it was coming in at 9.6. It was coming in at 9.6 on the KH keeper. And every time I tested with the HANA checker came in at 9.5 to 9.6. So I think where I thought I was running 10.5, 10.4 on the DKH, I mustn't have been running it, mate. Do you know what I mean? I must have been running 9.5, 9.6. I must have been running that. And unbeknown to me, it's been so it is fiddly. It is fiddly with it, but once you've got it dialed in, Jay, like you said, it seems to be okay now. Do you know what I mean? It's dead consistent.
What was really reassuring, I know lots of people who watch will have the HANA alkalinity checker. And basically, what you found out was it's absolutely spot on, isn't it? For accuracy, it was spot on, wasn't it? Which is really reassuring. It's such a good checker, is that alkalinity checker. It's a really good checker.
Definitely Definitely agree there, Jay. It's and like you said, now I literally tested it. I should have recorded it actually. I tested it 5 times, 5 hours on the hour. Yeah, I tested it. Both the Hannah checker, and it came back near enough identical. So I do believe that they're really consistent, the Hannah checkers, but they always have been. You know what I mean? Especially the Validity one. You know, so yeah, definitely one to recommend. That's for sure.
It is, yeah.
So I see Neil's point on there about pipefish and low flow. So in the 170, I've got one MP10, and it runs about 50%, and it seems to do okay. So yeah, I think if you had a real lot of flow in your tank, it might struggle or may just stay into to dead spots. So I think it depends on, Neil, whether you think you've got some areas in the tank that are fairly low flow or medium, so it's not going to get blown all over the place. Yeah, and I saw Haley about 2 to 4 years, so 3 years isn't too bad for mine. But yeah, you do have to love them, and you can't just leave your tanks to your own devices. I think with a Mandarin, you have to put the effort in.
Even in Paul.
Oh,
thanks for
Paul
the sticker.
UK reefer.
Oh yes,
I appreciate.
Thank you
the
so
sticker.
much, Paul.
Cheers, Paul. Thanks very much.
No, I really appreciate the video that he did.
Yeah, thanks for the shout out. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Video, yeah, and the video, fantastic. Yeah.
Should have never got rid of your Max Nano though, Paul.
Russell Brooks has just put, what's your thoughts on a quarantine? I'm absolutely terrified of putting anything near my tank unless it's been through a quarantine.
I think I can step in here on this one if you want, lads. So before I got my tank, I would have said no, I didn't need a quarantine because fish shops tell you that they quarantine everything. But the hassle I had with my clowns, I ended up setting up the quarantine again. So now I have a little 20-litre quarantine tank just for fish when I get them, and it's probably the best thing I think I've ever done. You can use it as a hospital tank if you've got any issues. I would say definitely get a quarantine tank. Doesn't need to be anything massive, just a small tank that you can set up, and then that does the job for me anyway. So I would imagine it would do the job for most others.
Yeah.
So Russell Brooks goes to Cellar Marine, which is a brilliant LFS, and I've seen that he's just bought a new tang. It's absolutely massive. This tang is. It's stunning. I've seen it swimming around in the shop. So Russell, mate, you've picked an amazing fish there. It's probably the best fish in the shop that it's got to take home. He must have a massive tank because it's a whopper. This fish is. It's really big. But yeah, he shared a picture with me earlier, and it's absolutely stunning. A really nice fish.
So go back to the quarantine. I've never quarantined fish, and I know I take that risk. I only buy my fish from one source, from one shop, and they usually look after the fish, and they'll feed it for a couple of weeks. That's not a substitute for your own quarantine. So I'm taking a risk, but I know I'm taking a risk by not having my own QT set up. So I do as much as I can without doing it myself. But I get the fact that it could all blow up and it could nuke the fish in the tank.
Yeah, I've never quarantined, so I can't even comment on that, to be truthful. Like I said, for me, a quarantine is. I look at it like you can stress your fish out even more. Yeah, if you think about it, you buy your fish from the shop, they get netted, put in a bag, transported. They've already been through all this sort of thing. So I literally float my fish. Yeah. I literally drip acclimate them for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and I throw them in the tank, and that's it. And you know what? It seems to work, so I just stick to that. That's my rule of thumb. So I don't quarantine, and I've never seen the reason to quarantine. So, well, that's my opinion. You know what I mean?
Where do we sign up for this Raja thing? I want to get in on this. It's a good call.
Raja Rampage. Weren't you after one of those, Steve, before? Remember? Someone was going to get you a piece, weren't they?
I thought you had a piece coming, Steve, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I don't know where it went. It must have got missed. It must have gone missing in action in the pub.
Yeah.
But,
they are lovely. They are lovely frags. I've got. I was lucky to get a piece couple of years ago. They're nice, nice cobbles. Not the best chalice you can get, but they are nice cobbles. But I mean, if was it being given away or auctioned or?
I don't know.
No. There you go. Morning from Australia. Good morning, Stephen.
Yeah, morning.
Oh, wow. Early morning. I've had a delivery here anyway. I'm going to open my delivery.
Oh.
Delivery. Something I talked about last week. Ready for the hot weather. There's a clue. You see. It arrived this evening. Well, this afternoon. So
yeah, I agree with you, Paul. Buying fish just from one store, I think you build up a good rapport with that shop. You trust it, and then go from there. Yeah, bought from another. Bought 2 fish. Got flukes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're waiting on you to open up, are we? Open up the.
So Steve like this one. He loves the calcium checker. There you go, Steve. Bit of a reagent for the calcium checker.
Oh God, no.
You like the calcium checker, don't you?
Calcium? No, mate.
Calcium, yeah. Good.
No. Don't like calcium, mate.
Because I've got the D&D temperature controller. Obviously, I've got the... Go on.
What do you find to them, Cal? Do you find your calcium seems to be on point with it?
It works.
I just got stupid readings with it. Literally.
Did you use distilled water in it? Did you?
I used that exact same one, mate. That exact same one. I bought mine from Amazon. I bought distilled water from Amazon, mate. 6 bottles of it because I thought I might need it. You know what I mean? 6 bottles of that distilled water. It just never worked, mate.
Mine works with the distilled water. It works. I mean, I can do one now and let you know what you think of it.
Yeah.
But,
what do you usually keep yours at? Your calcium, or what should you think it is?
When I test it, I'll let you know.
You can't do that. You can't do
all
that.
All right. It was, I think last time I measured it, which was about a week and a half ago, 455.
455.
Do you want me to do it? Do you want me to do it again?
Yeah. Go on, Jay. Do a test.
And then we'll see whether we'll see
there's my latest Christmas Easter present. That's it, Easter present now.
Nice. Cooling fans.
I love mine on my tank, mate. I love it.
You're a fan, aren't you?
Jay, what's that like size-wise for your tank? Is it going to be basically a big monster on it? Or?
Oh no, I have measured it and it's 30 centimeters wide, so it should. I'm hoping it's going to fit on the glass. So let me have a quick look.
Jay, I would have got the 2 fan for yours, mate. I think you might have no water in it.
No, but I thought you could always cool it down, you know.
You can't. Yeah, but you can't turn it down. You can't.
Is it on or off?
Yeah.
Sounds like your pump. This does. Well, we'll have a quick look. I'm hoping it's going to fit on the glass because obviously a lot of people are going to be buying fans if they haven't got them because it's starting to get to spring, isn't it now? And
what would I need a fan for, Jay?
What's that?
What would I need a fan for?
What in Scotland?
That's a fair point.
You got a bit of an unboxing here. You got a power pack. Obviously got the fan. They're quite small, actually.
Yeah, they look quite nice. I must admit, I've never had a fan or anything like that on my tank. And last summer, the tank got up to about 31, 32 degrees. Wow. So I was thinking about, do I need it? It was okay. And I didn't have anything dyed. The colours lost a bit of colour. Because at night it was like 27 degrees or whatever it is. So I think it was probably a little bit too hot out last summer. But whether I should get a fan or not, I don't know. But it's been okay.
I just thought, well, whilst I've got the temperature controller, I might as well just have the other bit that goes with it.
Good, Jay. Yeah, good, especially in the
really well made, actually. Let me just see what it sits like on the tank.
Yeah, I mean, those ones seem quite popular. I've seen pictures, whether it be Instagram elsewhere, where people have got those fans. And if it works for you, it works for you, doesn't it? Yeah. Like anything else, isn't it? I would say I need aircon in my fish room, but not in the house. Yeah.
Harold's just put, I have one of those fans, just got to be careful as it sucks in salt.
Does
water,
it?
can destroy it. I've had 2 in the past.
Oh my God.
Interesting.
This is like the J-Bow all over again. As soon as I bought that, everybody, after I bought it, everybody said it's going to kill all my fish and corals. Actually, it looks the business, this does. Let me just, let's put some whites on. That fits. Oh, that's like
is it a perfect fit, is it?
Yeah, it's a really good fit.
Yeah.
So let me just put
I've got to
whites.
say, I think DD do some good products. I think someone was saying earlier on around wanting to get a Deltec skimmer. I know it's not DD, but they're the supplier for it, aren't they? But yeah, DD Deltec 400 skimmer, I think is a good skimmer.
Right, so here it is on the little Max Nano.
Oh, yeah.
That looks pretty smart. That does.
That looks good. That
it does, doesn't it?
Does.
Yeah. That looks good.
Obviously, plug it in. It goes with my D&D controller. But there's only one shop that I could find them because everywhere else they'd sold out. And I thought if I leave it any longer, like May time, when you're probably actually going to need it, I won't be able to get hold of one.
I think John was saying last week, wasn't he, that they're really struggling to get stuff into the UK. Even worse now that something's got stuck in the Suez Canal. But stuff from China, DD controllers, all kind of things that it might be not necessarily they're sold out, Jay. It could be they just can't get the stock in. And I don't know if that's because of transport or whether there was a shortage of raw materials. But that seems to be. I was trying to get a new dosing head for the DOS doser. I found one in the end, but Dom didn't have one, and a couple other places didn't have them either. So there just seemed to be a shortage of certain parts and spares.
Yeah, Neil's put this a good fan. You think, that's obviously Neil. They're made by D&D.
Yeah.
That's what it's actually for. So it fits onto the actual D&D controller. So obviously,
you can set
it. You set your heater to what it is, and then if it goes over, then the fan kicks in. It's good.
So it is. All I have to do now. This is nuts. So all I have to do is plug that into the cooler one of the block, and it's done.
And then set it up. Yeah.
Well, no, it's set up. That's it. It'll just kick in.
You set it up to like the degree of when you want it to come on. So at the same 0.03. You've got it.
Yeah.
A bit like your heater, so you can do it. I think there's a different button on there, isn't it? You do one for heating, one for cooling. If it goes above a certain temperature, the heater will do that. So it's pretty good.
Then you reduce it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Just the D&D products, like Paul said, they're absolutely brilliant. Just simple, but work well. But also, you don't feel like you're getting ripped off either. You're getting a lot for your money, aren't you?
Yeah.
That was. Let me just have a look. I think that was about 25 quid.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it wasn't. It's 47.
Slight difference.
25 was what I told my missus. You know how it works.
Yeah. Hey, we all say that. How much was that? How much was that gold torch? Oh, it was 25 quid. I just missed the knot off the end.
That's it.
Yeah, that's good, mate. It's good.
Yeah, I'm well happy with that. It fits like a dream. So there we go. Right, I'll do my calcium. Well, I'll do my calcium as well. See what it is.
We've got 30 minutes, mate.
You've got time. Oh.
So what else is in the comments then, Steve? Anything? Are we up to date now?
I've actually caught up now. Paul did say that. Paul from Coral Worldwide, he did say that I was behind. So apologies for that, Paul. If you got somewhere to go, mate, no problem. But I think I've managed to catch up to it now. It is difficult, and it's even worse because I'm actually on my laptop, and my son's actually broke the mouse. So I'm doing it on the keyboard, on the keyboard on the mouse, and it keeps sticking. Yeah. It's driving me absolutely insane, mate. So, you know what I mean?
Jay, there's a comment from Reef Dork saying the fans are sold on all one solution, £20.
Those fans are sold on.
Thanks for joining, Reef Dork, Alex. Love his channel.
Thanks for breaking my heart, Alex. Thanks for breaking my heart, mate. Is that for the 4-fan D&D one? No, please not.
Jay, can you box that back up again, mate?
Well,
you can return it.
As long as they don't watch this live stream. Might be okay.
Reef King's joined. How's it going, Reef King? Another guy, top tank, top guy. And I love his DJing on Fridays. He usually does the DJing on Friday as well. So
yeah, and I like a live stream showing the feed, the fish room as well, or the coal room.
Yeah, the fish room. Absolutely.
Bit of a tour, and I've seen a couple of those over the last couple of weeks. So yeah, good value.
Yeah, exactly. Just looking down. Yeah, everybody's just saying that. Evening, Reef King and Reef Dork. Yeah, thanks for joining.
Yeah.
Adam's there. MB Reef and the one Ross was out of stock. So
yeah, so I think Adam had went on mail order corals to order the Frilly Tonga, but I think it's out of stock. So he's ordered another one. I'm not sure which one it is he's ordered.
Right.
Need to go and see, but yeah, I think we have got a couple of nice ones on the website just now.
Paul said he'll speak to me and he'll sort of ride your giveaway out. Paul, appreciate it, mate. Yeah, that'd be fantastic if you could do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Roger Rampage.
Giving away torches. I'll be in on that.
or the jelly bean chalice. Yeah, I'll be in on that one as myself.
Oh, they're fantastic. Yeah.
Is that one you just made up there, Steve?
No, there is actually a jelly bean chalice, mate. Trust me.
Jelly bean chalice.
Yeah.
Jelly bean chalice. Paul's actually got one to retrieval, so he has got a piece. So.
What is that? That's LPS as well, then, obviously.
It's a rainbow chalice, but it's called jelly bean. The colours are I've only seen pictures of them, but they're obviously very bright. They're brighter than probably the ones that we've got. They sparkle a bit more.
Yeah.
They are stunning corals.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, they're just crazy prices, and I believe they're dead slow growing, aren't they? The jelly bean ones, I believe, aren't they? Really slow growing.
I think most rainbow ones are.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're even slower than normal rainbow because I haven't got one. But yeah.
Just
mine better speed up.
Paul's just said these are the 5 bits from mail order corals. Just realised signature flags have loads on tomorrow. Credit card.
I haven't actually looked at signature flags before. I'm going to have a look at them and see what they're like.
Got some really good. I've seen some really good SPS, and I think also I've seen chalice. So there's a wide range on there. I've seen on Facebook quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some really nice quality stuff, and there's a website as well.
That Harold's just ordered a Monty Porter suitor. Always like, you know what, mate? A word of advice with that: put it as away from as many corals because it's so invasive. Mine, I put it in a crack, and it's actually like just grew completely out. It's spreading all the way up the rock now, and it's like an infestation. It's just completely covering all the rock. Anywhere it can get to, it'll go. So if I was you, stick it where you're not really going to put many corals. You know what I mean? Because it will grow up and it'll spread all over your rock. You know what I mean? It's beautiful coral, but it's just it's so invasive. I'm just looking down. Yeah, Paul said his jelly bean's beautiful. It is, mate. I've seen it. So absolutely. Bravo's putting down. Oh, they did £400, I think, £500.
Probably in that region.
Rainbows. Yeah, they're very similar, mate. Maybe it might be a little bit more. I'm not too sure. But they're in that ballpark, that's for sure. Paul UK Refot, I'm skinned, so no more calls for me this month. This is the problem. We see one cuddle, but we can never walk out of it, or I can't. It's like a drug addiction to me, yeah. I can't.
Don't we know it?
I can't go in a cuddle shop and just buy one cuddle. You know what I mean? I just can't do it. My missus is like, come on, let's go. And I'll go, yeah, all right, 1 minute. And then I'll wait. And then I'll say, you go in the car. She'll go in the car. And then I'll get my credit card out. And then I'm buying 2. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It just drives me mad. But, you know, it is what it is.
Well, it's getting to payday soon, so as soon as I get paid, I always look at corals. That's a straight away, instantly.
Yeah. Well, he said 400 quid it is for a piece of that jelly bean. So yeah, similar in the ballpark of rainbow acans and stuff, aren't they? So
yeah.
Tomorrow, yeah, loads. So at 8 o'clock, if any of you guys are after some corals. Some frags, loads are going on at 8 o'clock tomorrow.
Where are they? Is that on the Facebook page or?
No, I think that's on. I think that's on the website, isn't it?
On his website. Yeah.
Is it?
I think so.
I think Signature Frags is in the chat anyway.
Yeah, he is.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah.
I take
Can you do it next Wednesday, mate, when I get paid?
Yeah.
So I don't think you just want to confirm. I'm assuming it's via the website.
Yeah. Will you just let us know if it's via the website? That'd be great. Kids, Super Yellow Tangs put kids want McDonald's or a coral. What do I say? Well, what do you think, mate? Come on. It's got to be a coral, hasn't it? It's got to be a coral. Yeah, coral for me, mate. Coral for me. You know, so Signature Frags. Paul UK Refot, something for all. Yeah.
You got torches. Is there any torches going? Signature Frags, if there's any torches.
Paul
Especially
UK
if it's Holy Grail.
Paul UK Reefers just put, he went to Kraken to rent the palm meter and bought an £80 Indo quality. Another shout out to what I want to mention is, I never mentioned it before, was Dom kindly said to me that I could rent out the palm meter. I'm not going to go into it, but all I will say was that it took me 3 hours and I never even managed to read my par level. So,
is there a common theme here, Steve, around the KH keeper, the par meter? Just putting it out there, just saying.
I'm open for technology.
No, or do you just not read the instructions? Because you said like 37 pages. Do you just read the first page and the last page and say, job done, just set it up?
You tell me anybody who reads instructions. Come on, let's be honest. Yeah, no, I don't read instructions. But all I got told from Dom was to stick the USB in the laptop. Put the thingy in the laptop and it'll work. Well, it never, you know what I mean? So basically, I got in contact with a guy from Italy, Mario. So if you're there, out Mario, yeah, big heads up for you, yeah. He'll sort it out for me. He actually was controlling my laptop, yeah, from over in Italy. That's how crazy it was. Yeah.
You have a little red hat on, Steve.
No. But he was actually called Mario, mate. Truthfully, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what the hell? So. I've got the text message here on my phone, and then he said, I'm sorry, but we have to send it back to be recalibrated. So it had to go back to wherever it goes and recalibrate. So in the end, I ended up buying a Senai reef myself for 129 quid. So it wasn't a cheap do. You know what I mean? That's for sure. But yeah, massive shout out to Dom from Kraken Corals. I appreciate it, mate.
He was amazing on the live stream last week. He was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that.
So much from him.
And
also,
he's
nervous.
He's a nervous sort of thing. He doesn't like do it. He's not that sort of person, like coming out. But I thought he was fantastic. He opened up and he said a few things that I didn't really think he would do. Going into pricing, he didn't have to go into pricing and stuff of what he pays for his electric. That's personal. That's his business. So. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was really good.
And also about some of the products that he uses as well. Because I thought he might sit on the fence because of all the stock he's got and everything else. But it was a really good insight into some of the products that he uses. You're talking about pests and stuff like that in the frag trays, and he strips them down every couple of weeks, cleans them all out, stuff like that. So I thought he was great value.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
Paul's put. For Jay, get a frog spawn. It looks better than a torch. Frog spawns are really nice, actually. Yeah, nice.
That's a good shout. That is actually,
yeah. Frog spawns are nice. It was one coral that was missing in mine, to be truthful, and then I got the green one, and I do love it. Actually, the green frog spawn, really, really nice.
It's just a bit of variety, isn't it, compared to a torch and a hammer? So I think all three of them are nice and just give a bit of difference, but also a bit of movement as well, don't they?
Yeah. Signature Flags has put down, I think it was you, Jay, whether you asked for something, did you? So it did selling torches, chalices, cultured aquas.
Oh, yeah.
Space Invader, Pectina, and rare Favias and all sorts. So, yeah, definitely if you want to get over there, 8 p.m., absolutely get over there and check them out. I'd love another bounce mushroom. An OG one. I'd love an OG bounce mushroom. I'd love that would.
Have you got any money left, though?
How much do you think it could get for £8?
A nice ordinary red mushroom, and you can bounce it around the tank.
£8, mate. That's all I've got. Yeah, got nothing.
I've just found out my calcium's a little bit higher than I thought it was.
Oh, is it? What is it?
I tend to run mine. I tend to run mine at 490.
Did you say 490 or 445? Which one?
I said 455, but at the moment it's running at 495.
What? I told you they're inconsistent, mate.
I'm back on the dosing app here. I'm gonna just dial the
calcium. I was about to say, are you dosing calcium?
Well, I was.
How much you dosing per day, Jay? Just out of interest.
I'm just going on to it now. I think it's about 1.7. Let me have a little look. So I'm just going on the app now. I don't know if you can see. Oh, wait up. Search. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm just on it. So look at that. Look how long my stuff lasts there. When look, I've got 926 days of magnesium.
Wow.
That's from one bottle.
3 years.
I'm dosing 1.5 mil of calcium a day, and then the alkaline is the highest. Look, there you go. Yeah, why should you have a nano? Because you're dosing last.
Jay, look at that comment, Jay.
Jay, just to do that, do what Paul said, exactly what I did, test it again, and I bet it'll come back a totally different one.
You reckon?
Any money, mate. It'll come back something like 425 or something, and you'll go, what?
You serious?
Well, we'll soon find out.
It never comes back the same. Never.
I get the impression no one wants me to talk on it. They just want me to mess about with tests. Right, I'm going to do it again then, all right? Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Paul's put down, as soon as his jelly bean spreads, he's going to flood the market with cheap frags, same as I did 6 or 7 years ago with Rastas, £1 a polyp. Well, if he's selling a jelly bean for £1, mate, I'll have 4 of them.
Yeah, people queuing up.
Hey, I'll have as many as you want, mate. Trust me. Yeah, that's for sure.
So I take it Paul UK Reefer's got the calcium checker as well then?
Yeah.
Right, let's have a little look then. I've never done it twice, back to back.
He don't live far from me, Paul. I go cycling near his house, up where his house is.
He's a good guy.
When all the COVID's all finished, he said, to come in and have a look at his tank, which can't wait to do that. And obviously, I've said to him to come down to mine, and maybe we could do some sort of video or something. But yeah, definitely, I can see his tank turning out really absolutely stunning. What he's got planned for it, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got some nice fish in there as well.
And even escape now, if you look at escape, it's really nice. The way escape is, you can see the way
it definitely is.
Where it's going to be developed. You know what I mean?
I just can't imagine how much it costs to fill it though, with like corals. You're talking thousands, aren't you?
Yeah,
absolutely thousands. But
you see, that's what it is with that calcium checker. Have you noticed that calcium checker? You can actually buy the calibration bottles. Have you seen it? For the Hano, you can actually buy. It comes with 2 calibration bottles. Yeah, and they sell them for. I think they're like $29.99. It's a calibration. It supposedly calibrates your actual Hana checker. Yeah, and it's 30 quid to just calibrate it. So when we were talking a few weeks ago about the prices of Hana checkers and stuff,
yeah.
And when you think about it, they're extortionate. You pay £70 for the checker, then you've got to pay £25 for the solution. Then if you want to recalibrate it, you've got to pay another 30 quid. So you're looking at 135 quid for one.
I'm not being funny. Your calcium is important, but not as important as alk. and actually doesn't usually swing as much. And I think Paul's put in there about Red Sea Calcium Pro. That's what I've shown earlier. The foundation set I've got is the calcium, magnesium, and alkalinity. And I think that test kit for all three was 49 quid. And that will do the 3 tanks. And you know, they're pretty reliable. I test my calcium every 2-3 weeks. Occasionally, if I get back into a routine, I do it weekly. So I don't see the need to what Jay's done there in terms of getting a Hannah, then get the calibration fluid, and it goes on and on and on, isn't it? I think you have to draw the line somewhere, is, you know, my personal view.
And in that kit, don't you get it? What is it? 50 tests of each, Paul, on that? I think it's 50 tests of each in that kit.
Yeah, look at it. So I was 70. So the one I got on the one I've got here is 75 tests for calcium, KH, and magnesium. So you get 75. That's pretty good. Yeah. And I think Hayley's put in there about she uses Salifert. Salifert is one that always comes up. And really popular.
What's that? What's on that, Jay? 25 tests, isn't it?
25, and it was about £25 to buy it.
That's what I mean.
Wow.
So it's a pound. So it's a pound a test, yeah. So
so this is costing me £2. I could have bought 2 rasters for this. So the KH keeper, when you look at it like that, the KH keeper on average, it works out at about 3.5 pence a test. Do you know what I mean? That's the difference. Do you know what I mean? A pound to 3 pence. It's night and day. It's crazy. You know the price of them. It's just stupid. The prices. You know, of them. Yeah, but like you said. But then again, though, the alkalinity checker is spot on for me. You know what I mean? It's been no. I've never had an issue with it. But when I've got this KH, it's just so easy. I don't need to test it. That's the difference. Basically, it's called lazy-itis. That's what it is. You know what I mean? I can't be asked testing.
Fair point. Yeah, there's Hayley. You put that on there, so thanks. Yeah, Hayley's using
Salifert. I did a really bad
Salifert.
job of advertising this.
Not as bad as when you use the nitrate test. That definitely put me off.
You know what,
that was horrendous.
You know what? I secretly like it. I like the answer that it gives you at the end. I do like the numerical number. You know where you stand with it. Yeah. And I think it is accurate. Because I've done that back to back, and that is a similar number. But I don't know. I'm hoping.
I'm with you, Reef King. Red Sea kits. Don't do it for all of them, but I think the core ones, like you said, the foundation ones, are pretty good, pretty reliable. But Hayley was saying around, just pick one and stick to it.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really go wrong with a Salifert. I mean, all right, we're not saying that Salifert are like super accurate, but they give you in that ballpark. You know what I mean? It gives you the ballpark number of what it is. You know what I mean? And I've never really had an issue with Salifert. I think they're fantastic. I still use them myself. You know what I mean? I use the Salifert for my calcium, and I use the Salifert for my nitrate. So for me, I don't really have an issue with them. They always seem to be bang on. But I was.
It's all the Salifert.
When I went to Crack and Coral, I was contemplating buying one of those nitrate tests. You know, those but only for the reason, because every time I test my nitrates on the Salifert, they're coming back at 1, 2. It never seems to go up. So I'm thinking, is there something wrong with these tests or what? You know what I mean? So with it being a low reading test kit, I thought maybe, but he didn't have any in stock. So you never know. I might purchase one. I might, but it's the 17 minutes that does my head in. 17 minutes of my life wasted doing a test. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I use the ELOS nitrate test. It only goes up to 25, so it's quite low. But I found it's really easy to see, and it only takes about 5 minutes to do.
Yeah.
Oh, gee.
Wow.
So it's gone up by 10 in 2 minutes.
Was it 495? So it's in a. I suppose you would say it's in an acceptable range, isn't it? 495 and 505. Very much.
Basically,
really, is there?
It's too high, so I need to dial my dosing down a little bit.
Yeah.
That means my fluid's going to last till I'm about 46, I think now. Yeah. It isn't. I don't think it's as accurate as the other ones. Obviously, it isn't, is it? But it's not. I don't think it's well out though.
No, it's out by 10. I mean, look at that as a percentage. That's low, isn't it? You're talking 2% variance. Both of them tell you it's too high, doesn't it? If it was 405, then I'd be a bit worried because that's a massive difference, isn't it? But out by 10, I think that's all right, Jay, in terms of range.
Yeah.
But that's why you're testing it.
Yeah, of course.
So you can find out what to dose.
Lucid Reef, RCW is from Manchester, mate. So, don't live far from me. Paul, want to go to Matna? Yeah, I'd love to go somewhere like that. That'd be fantastic. You know, somewhere like Matna. Obviously, you can't buy anything, can you? Because you know what I mean. But it just for the experience, you know, meeting people, seeing like the top reefers, you know, out there. It's
I mean, I went to Florida a couple of years ago on holiday and done a tour around all the different fish shops and that there. And I mean, like you say, it's the most horrible thing ever because you go in and you can't buy anything. Yeah. So you're looking at all these corals and tanks and equipment and that, and you're going, oh, that's brilliant, but you can't buy anything. It's such a tease.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The other one I'd like to go to is the Aquashella, the one that's run by Coral 12G. That looks really good. It's a mix of salt water and fresh water by the looks of it. And it looks like he's put a massive amount of effort in. And I'd like to go to that company. It looks a bit different.
Chilling's put, what salt does everyone use? I keep low reading of calcium and magnesium with H2O salt. I've never used H2O salt. For my little nano, I've gone back onto the Red Sea Blue bucket for my little red nano because the only reason I've gone onto that is because I want my nano to stay stable at about 8 DKH, so that I know that mixing the salt up to 1.025 keeps the alkalinity at 8 DKH. So that's the only reason why I've used it. But this is I've got a message of somebody saying that his alkalinity and stuff was rising when he was doing water changes. It was on an Instagram. I've forgotten who you are. So if you are on here, I apologise, but he did mention something that he keeps rising every time he does a water change. So I specifically said, make sure that your salinity is in line with what you want to keep it. Do you know what I mean? So if you want if you're running your alkalinity, say for instance at 9, you're not going to use a salinity. You're not going to use a salt that mixes at 8 DKH because it means that you need to raise it up to the 9 sort of thing. So if you are on here, just bear that in mind that whatever you want to keep your tank at, whether it's alkalinity, magnesium or calcium, try and get a salt that is in line with it, and then you don't have to dose as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I use Red Sea Blue as well. I switched from the Coral Pro years ago just because it aligned better with what I wanted from an alkalinity. And also what I have read, and I haven't experienced myself, around you shake the salt bucket around a little bit because when they put it in, it could the minerals could be at a different level, so therefore you may not always get a consistent salt.
Yeah.
I use the Tropic Pro.
What do you use, Jay and Ross? Which ones do
you use? I'm on the Tropic Marine Pro.
Oh, Tropic Marine, yeah. I've still got really 3/4 of a bucket of that from the main one.
You've got what?
Use it. I've still got 3/4 of a bucket for the main one, which I've never used for like 18 months because I don't do water changes on it.
You don't do water changes. No.
I've got it as a spare. You know, God forbid, touch wood, anything happens in the tank, and I need to do an emergency water change. Then at least I've still got it there. And that's another thing. Does salt ever go off? Would the salt ever like lose its potency? You know, the strength. I don't know about that. You know, like over time.
No,
is there a sell by date sort of thing on it? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably best to look on the bucket because if it does lose it, then it should say a sell by date, not so a use by date on there. But I never looked.
It shouldn't do. It's a natural element, isn't it? So it shouldn't.
I would have thought so.
Yeah, I don't know. Some I've never really looked into, but maybe. I suppose there's a sell-by date on everything, isn't there? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
maybe. In fact, I will actually.
Not on corals if you look after them.
Pardon?
Not on corals if you look after them. They're supposed to live forever, aren't they?
Yeah.
They got like they don't have a life expectancy, do they, coral?
In theory,
no, I think they'll live forever, mate.
Anyone use the Red Sea Pro salt supposed to have 11? Well, the Red Sea Pro salt has got 12 DKH. It's 12 on that one. because I have seen it, but I think that's predominantly for like an SPS reef. You know, for an SPS higher DKH. I think that's for that really.
They follow a formula, don't they, where all your elements are
based.
Are high on the bases. And I can't remember someone, I don't think it was Reef King or was it Woody's Reef or someone run their ALK really high because you can get better, you get fast growth if it's really high. But I don't know if they're more brittle. Was it Reef King?
Yeah, in his coal room,
yeah.
Like you said, I run mine fairly high, I suppose, you know, considering, you know, 9.8, 9.6, 9.8. So, you know what I mean? I thought it was a 10-point thing, but according to my KH keeper, and it's not. So, obviously,
it's yours one of the highest that I know. But to be fair, your tank looks amazing, mate. So I'd just keep it there. To be honest, you're not doing anything wrong there, are you?
Bravo 20's put, get Ross on board, and he can pay his minted with his sponsorship.
That's it. That's it.
RO units all round.
You need to give him a plug now. Give him a quick plug, Ross.
Yeah.
I don't have it. It's away in the cupboard, but yeah. Brilliant.
Brilliant product.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I was impressed how you plugged it all in and then it was absolutely dead zero. That was impressive.
That was a nervous moment, I'll be totally honest with you, because that was the very first time I had actually flushed it all through and ran it, and I thought, this could go horribly wrong here if I test this and it's not zero. And I went, but it was, so yeah, it was fine. See, to be honest with you, actually, without trying to sound like I'm plugging it, it's actually a really good unit, and they're a lot cheaper than most of the other ones, to be fair. I know a couple of guys that I've spoke to have bought them recently. There was one guy I spoke to kind of having an issue with the fact that he'd bought the 75 gallon per day one and it's not pumped. So he was saying, you know, it was just trickling out. He wasn't getting any flow through it. So he had spoke to Aquati and they actually sent him out a bigger membrane free of charge just to try and get his flow up a bit. And I think he's going to end up needing a pump because his pressure was low. But, you know, for me, the pressure I've got in my house is brilliant. So it's not an issue for me. But for some folk, I think it probably would be, to be fair.
You know that place, the Aquati. It's called Aquati, isn't it, Ross? Aquati, isn't it? Do they not sell? Do they not sell reef pump booster pumps there on that?
I don't think so, mate. It was something, when I spoke to him the other night, he was asking if there was anything that he could think of, you know, that I could think of improving, and I said, well, personally for me, no, but I says I know for a lot of guys that are, you know, living in cities, towns and so on that have low water pressure, then the pump would be something. So I do believe it's something he's looking into doing for future ones now, or even just an option to add on. But I've been quite lucky that I haven't needed it, so it's okay that way. But yeah, I think it is something he's looking into doing.
Yeah, I mean, because the pressure when I was running my RO before I went to, I'm not going to mention a name, it was running, my pressure out of my tap was only like, I think it's like 45, 50. That was it, you know, out my tank, So to get the best out the membrane, it was saying that you should run it between 80 and 100. You know what I mean? So I would have had to put a booster pump on. Booster pumps are definitely better for towns in cities and stuff.
It makes such a big difference. I found it doubled the output of RO by using a booster. It makes such a big difference. Yeah, because my flow the pressure was pretty low.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like I say, I've been quite lucky because my pressure's high, and for 25 litres for me to do that through that unit takes about an hour and 40 minutes. So, I mean, that's not the end of the world for me, really. Plus the fact I'm only doing 10 litre water change a week and 5 litre on the RO to top up. So I'm using 15 litres RO water a week, which it's nothing. Dare say when I get a bigger tank, then, you know, I'll need to upgrade and put a booster pump and so on in. But yeah, just now it's not an issue for me.
No. Yeah, like you said.
How often do you use it, Ross? Once a week or something?
So I do a 25 litre drum, and then once that runs out, so you're probably talking every couple of weeks, mate.
So you just let it sit there. Can you let RO just sit there? How long does RO can sit there? Can that just sit there forever as well?
So I'm not sure how. I think there obviously will be a time that you can keep it for, but I mean, I've kept. So the very first lot I bought way too much, and I kept it for. Well, it was about, I don't know, 6-7 weeks.
Moving it a little bit though, with like a pump or something to keep the water moving if you're not using it.
I didn't, but I don't know if that's the right thing to do or not.
I don't know.
Yeah, Hayley's just said she's got time for bed. She's got work in the morning. I've only just realised that we're chatting on it now. 2 hours and 4 minutes gone over. So you've got 4 minutes. So next week is only for 1 hour and 56 minutes now. So,
where are we next week, Steve? Where are we?
Well, I don't know. I think it's Big Ross's turn.
It's Ross's turn to host.
You've got to get on it, Jay. You've got to get on it.
Mate, I'm having nothing to do with this.
Oh, actually, we could do it on Jay's channel next week if
no, I can't concentrate with all the comments and bits and bobs now.
Yeah. No. So
yeah, I'll do it next week.
Yeah. So it's going to be on Big Ross's channel next week. So yeah, a massive thanks to everybody who's joined, everybody who's put their input in. Yeah, it's fantastic. It seems to be growing. We really enjoy it, all of us, myself included. I'm not usually really like, really. I like to keep myself to myself. I feel dead thingy, but I'm absolutely loving it. And with all you guys joining in, it's even better. So it's making it even better for me. So yeah, massive shout out, massive thanks to everybody who's joined, everybody who's subscribed to all our channels on Instagram and on YouTube. We appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for joining in, guys.
Perfect. Thank you very much to everybody again.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
So yeah, it's going to be on Ross's channel next week. So we'll see you there at 8 p.m. next Friday. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Friday. Cheers, guys.
Perfect. Thanks, folks.
Enjoy your weekend of reefing. Have a good weekend of reefing.
Yeah, happy reefing.
Yeah.